Hello everyone, welcome back to our Fiori development series from Intellect Consulting. In the last video, we saw how to bind and audit a service to a list page in SAP Fiori. In today's session, we are going to focus on something really important, the different types of data bindings in SAP UI5. So first, what is data binding? In simple terms, binding means connecting your UI to your data. You're basically telling the UI, stay in sync with this data. If the data changes, the UI updates automatically, and if the user updates something, the data can update it as well. So you don't have to manually refresh or write extra code for every change. In this session, we'll go through 4 main types of bindings using simple example. By the end, you'll know when and how to use each one. In SAP UI5, the main binding types are property binding, expression binding, element binding, and aggregation binding. Now without wasting any time, let's get started. Here I have already created the project. For this demo I am using the Northwind OData service, which we also used in the previous tutorial as well. It's a free demo database that contains useful data like products, customers and orders, so it's perfect for learning. In the manifest file I have already configured the OData data source. And inside this service we have the products entity. It includes fields like product name, unit price, units in stock and discontinued and few more. Now that everything is set up, let's start binding this data to the UI. Before coding we can run this application and see. So you can see there are nothing at the moment here. And now I will go to the V1 and start showing you the binding methods. Let's start with property binding. This is the simplest type, one UI property bound to one data field. I create a panel and inside it a VBox, then I bind the VBox to the first product. So I'm creating the panel here with a header text as property binding, and I will give the class as well here. Then the VBox. Here I'm binding the first product to the VBox. Now inside the VBox I'll add the text control and bind its text property to product name using curly braces. That's a basic syntax, just curly braces and the field name. Now I will format it and run. Yeah, now you can see the product name and unit price is there. The first product is chai and the unit price is 18. Now we can change the product number, so I will change it to 4 and see whether it's changing. Yeah, you can see the fourth product has come here. So that's property binding. Now let's move to expression binding. This is useful when you have some logic or calculations. Instead of just displaying a value, you can write expression directly in your XML. It always starts with an equal sign, so I will create another panel here and bind it the same way to the products. And then I'll add a text control with a condition. If the unit price is greater than 20, show expensive product, otherwise show standard products. So here I will write it like this. Now we can run it, and since chai is $18, it shows a standard product. Next I'll combine values, for example product name and unit price together, something like chai dash $18. So as you can see, it's combined here. You can see the name is there and the price. And next we have conditional styling. I'll use an object status control. If the product is discontinued, show discontinued in red, otherwise show active in green. So we can run this as well. As you can see, it shows as available in green. Just keep in mind that expression binding is one way, and we have to keep it simple. If we need to have any complex logic, better to use a formatter. Now let's look at the element binding. Instead of binding each field separately, we bind an entire container to the data context. Everything inside that container automatically use that context. Let's create a simple master detail layout. First I create a list and I will bind it to the products. So each item will show the product name and price. So here I'm creating a list. I have bound that to the products, and I'm giving a on selection method as well here. Now you can see the products is loading. You can see the product name is there and the price is there and the status also is there. After that, I will create a detail section using a VBox. Inside it, I will create another VBox, and then I can add a text control for product name. Notice I'm only using field names here. These are relative paths. Now I will go to the controller, and when a user selects a product, I get its path and bind it to the detail panel using bind element. So I will add that part here. If you are new to these things, please follow our previous tutorials so you will get a better understanding about these things. Now we can go to the screen and see. Now when I click on a different product, the details update instantly. So as you can see, the product name is displaying there when I click on a product. We can add another field if we like. So I will go to the V1. I will add another text control with price, and let's see. Now when we click on a product, you can see the product name and the price is there. So no need to bind each field separately. This is a very powerful pattern and commonly used in Fiori apps. Finally, aggregation binding. This is used when you want to display a list or table of data. I'll create a table and bind its item to the products collection. Then I define columns. We can add the product name, unit price, stock, and inside the items I will define a template using column list item. Inside that I will bind the text control to each field. So here I have added the columns and also the column list items. Now we can run it, and let's go down. Now you can see a full table with all products. The key point here is you only define the template once, and SAP UI5 repeats it automatically for every item. Each row gets its own data context. That's why aggregation binding is so powerful. And that's it. Let's quickly recap. In real applications, you will usually use all four types together. Aggregation binding for lists, element binding for detailed sections, property binding for individual fields, and expression binding for logics and complex formatting. And that's data binding in SAP UI5. In the next video, we'll move on to CRUD operations, and it's gonna be a really interesting one. And if you found this helpful, don't forget to subscribe, share, and drop your questions in the comments. See you in the next video. Thank you.